38 MMA here to give you a sneak peek into our UFC 280 full card breakdown. I'm going to do that by giving you a sample size, a snippet, if you will, of Sean O'Malley versus Petr Yan. We're going to make a pick on this fight, and then later this week, you're going to see the full card breakdown. So, without any further ado, let's break down the fight.
You wanted the picks, you got the picks. The hottest picks in the
Matchup here. We have Petr Yan coming in 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Obviously, those 2 losses are to Aljamain Sterling, our current champion in the bantamweight division. One of those was a disqualification, so take that for what you will. On the O'Malley side, he is 3-1-1. That extra one being a no contest, the eye pokes to Pedro Munoz. In this fight, we have a very interesting matchup between 2 guys that are primarily strikers, but very different style of strikers. Both guys use their physical makeup to decide their striking range and use that to their best advantage. So, obviously, we see a very big height and reach discrepancy on this matchup. So, for Sean O'Malley, he's 5'11". He's the tallest bantamweight on the UFC roster, tied with Corey Sandhagen. But in every single one of his UFC fights, Sean O'Malley has been the taller fighter because he hasn't fought Corey Sandhagen. Obviously, he's the tallest, so there you go. That adds up. 72-inch reach is a pretty good reach over a guy who is 5'7" with a 67-inch reach. So what that means is we're just talking just hands, which both guys are primarily using their boxing to win fights. I know O'Malley has that pretty nice front kick he likes to throw. Point being, though, they typically like to throw hands. For O'Malley, he's got a 5-inch window where he can hit Yan, and Yan cannot hit him, just talking about the hands. So anytime Yan wants to get in close, he's going to have a 5-inch radius where Yan is going to be in the danger zone, but O'Malley is not yet. At least it's going to feel that way in the fight. That range might change some because we have to factor in legs. Obviously, O'Malley's got that long rangey front kick that he uses, and if he decides to use that, instead of it being a 5-inch reach advantage, it changes it some, and O'Malley can obviously use that distance a little bit more. Either way, O'Malley's going to be able to hit Yan much quicker than Yan's going to be able to hit O'Malley. However, that does not mean that O'Malley's going to win the striking necessarily, because Petr Yan is a top-tier boxer. And when he gets in close, when he breaks that plane, when he gets through to the range of O'Malley and is able to get inside of that, he can use his hands because he has, like I said, he has top-tier boxing, but his hands are fast and he throws in combination. So he can use those to go to the body and to the head without trouble, without worry of getting hit with one of those powerful shots. Because O'Malley does hit pretty hard. Obviously, he's got quite a few KOs in the UFC, KOs and technical knockouts, TKOs. So, but with that said, Yan, on the other hand, when he gets inside, O'Malley's in trouble because Yan's going to be able to work his shots without the fear of any sting on the shot from O'Malley. Because when you're a tall, rangy guy like that, your shots on the inside aren't as strong because you're coming at weird angles that don't play favorably into your body type. So for O'Malley, he's going to struggle a lot when Yan gets inside. And for Yan, because he has those trip takedowns that he uses so well, when he breaks that plane of the reach for O'Malley, he's going to be able to obviously use the boxing, but he will hit those trips, sweep the legs out from under O'Malley, put him down, maybe let him back up, probably let him back up. I don't imagine these guys are going to want to go to the ground a ton. If they do, it probably will be Yan doing the taking down, especially with one of those trips. Maybe follows him down, get some ground and pound, win some control time. But a lot of times we'll see him hit those trips, let you back up, continue to strike with you, especially if he's having success on the feet. And I think that he will if he can get in close, which that's where the if comes into with these 2 in this matchup. But if Yan can get in close, when he's hitting those trips, hitting his boxing up top, Sean O'Malley is going to be guessing what's coming next. And that's going to cause him just to be a little bit slower, which is going to cause Yan to be able to have way more success on the striking on the inside. He's going to be able to hit those trips, hit those shots. This fight is going to look one-sided at certain points in the matchup. It's going to look not even close. It's going to look like one guy is just getting beat pillar to post. But it's going to look that way for both guys at different times because their striking styles are so different, but yet both very effective. O'Malley does, like I said, he has the range, but he also moves really well. So it's not as simple as, oh yeah, Jan's just going to walk forward and get inside the range. He might have to eat one to get in. Okay, no big deal. That's not quite how that works. Because O'Malley can circle off really well. He'll throw his punches, circle, move forward, move backwards, but he doesn't get trapped a lot. So even when you're pressuring forward, he's not getting trapped up against the cage as easily as some other fighters who just move forward and back. And there are a lot of them that do that. O'Malley does circle well. We've seen it in many other fights. The only person that's really been able to kind of able to like pin Sean down and put him kind of where he wants him was Marlon Vera. He did that by working in those leg kicks, kind of slowing the movement of Sean O'Malley. Obviously, O'Malley didn't win that fight. That one, we'll go into that in a moment. But other than that, O'Malley has shown really good ability to circle, move. And that fight obviously was a while ago. He's had fights. I think he's had 4 fights since then. So we've seen obviously the growth of O'Malley in that range, in that movement. So for me, this fight is going to be it's not going to, how do I put this? It's not going to be a close fight at times. It's going to look very one-sided, but the overall fight is going to be a close fight. Now, something I want to put out the negatives of both guys, okay? Let's start with O'Malley. We've got 2 of them that are blatantly obvious. Questionable level of competition. Every time he's stepped up in competition, something has happened, whether it be a no contest against the number 10 at the time ranked Pedro Munoz. The no contest obviously makes that fight kind of, okay, well, what do we go off of here? The fight didn't really get going either. It was kind of an odd fight. If you watch it back, it didn't really take off yet. The eye pokes kind of messed that up. The other time that he stepped up in competition to fight a higher level guy was Marlon Vera. And we know how that went. Sean O'Malley did not win that fight, obviously. If you ask him, he didn't lose that fight. He was injured, and that's what happened. But, okay, you still lost because, A, it's on your record, but B, if it happens in a fight, that means you got hurt during that fight. So the other guy capitalized on an injury, whether he caused it or not. That's how that works. I think the technical, what it says under the TKO win for Vera is like elbows from the ground and pound or whatever. So it wasn't even like, leg kick knockout. So for me, to see that anytime he stepped up, we've seen some issues there. It has been a while since that Vera fight, so I would like to assume that he's improved. He is still a young fighter. But it does make you wonder, because the questionable level of competition, he's beaten a lot of guys that are just kind of all right or not UFC level whatsoever. Sure, he's putting them out. I believe most of his wins are by knockout. I think he's had 2 decision wins his first couple of fights in the UFC, but they were very clear decision wins. But for O'Malley there, that questionable competition, that is a concern. Jan is obviously one of the top guys in the division. Stylistically, though, using that reach, it makes sense that this is one of the top guys that he wants to fight. It's not going to be a heavy wrestler, not going to be a guy that's like Sandhagen, who's also tall. He's gonna have a clear path to victory in this fight. Can he use that to win, or is this too big of a step up in competition? We're going to find that out at UFC 280. On the other hand, he also has potential durability concerns. Now, that leg injuries, it set him out twice in his UFC career. Obviously, in the Vera fight, we saw him lose that one. It happened again before that, where he was out for, I think, about a year with the same leg injury. I can't remember what the heck that's called. Somebody can let me know in the comments. I don't remember what it was called, but he was out for about a year with that as well. Is that going to be a concern here? A guy like Jan hitting you with those trips in the clinch or like in close boxing range, dirty boxing range, if he's able to hit those trips, maybe pop something up in that leg, that could be the end for O'Malley right there if that leg isn't healed. Do I think he's healed the leg? Do I think it's in better shape? Do I think he's worked on that? Yes, I think he has. Obviously, he's still fighting. I don't think that a guy of his skill level, of his, his hype and fame is going to just forget about it and hope for the best and hope nobody hits him in the leg again. I don't think that's the case. So I think he's been working on it, working with some physical therapists, working with some athletic trainers to really strengthen those legs, because obviously he does have long legs. They are a big target. So I think he's been figuring that out. Obviously, you can't have the same injury take you out twice and it not be a concern. So I think that this durability issue is probably fixed. Now, I don't know how good his chin is. We're going to find that out against Jan, because Jan's definitely going to hit him. But as far as the leg concerns, I think those are probably in the past. The questionable competition is a real concern, though. On the Jan side, Jan, so he is a 5-round fighter. Does awesome in 5-round fights. He's really good at taking that first round, download the game plan, as everybody says, learn the opponent's cadences, timing, setups, how they react when you feint, how they react when you do X, Y, and Z. He's awesome at that. The problem is, the drawback that you get with that is it makes him a slow starter. So that first round is most likely going to O'Malley. If you can bet first round, like who wins the first round on the scorecards, I've never seen this on a sports book, but if you can, I feel like anytime Petr Yan's fighting, unless he's biting a total bum, the guy's going to give up the first round because that's what he does. Most of his fights he loses the first round. Some of them, obviously not, but most of them he does because he's taking his time to figure out what you're going to do, how you're going to react. It's a smart plan over a long fight, over a 5-round fight. 3-round fight, usually it's worked out for him more often than not. But in a fight against a guy who has a very dangerous reach and height advantage over him, who moves really well and does have some power in his shots, this could be scary for Jan because he'll most likely lose the first round. He has to win round 2 and 3 to win this fight because this is not a title fight. This is a 3-round fight. And that is what plays in the favor of Sean O'Malley in this fight. If this was a 5-round matchup between the two, I think Petr Yan wins pretty much every time. There is obviously a chance that O'Malley catches him. It is an MMA fight. Anyone can get caught. But in a 5-round fight, I think Yan gets this one done. In a 3-round fight, it is not crazy to think that O'Malley could, probably obviously will, bank that first round when Jan's figured out the game plan, figuring out the movements, the timing, whatever. I've already mentioned this. Is it crazy to think that O'Malley can win one other round on the judges' scorecards? I don't think that's crazy at all. Especially because the style of O'Malley, it looks nice when he's throwing his punches. Even if they don't land super hard, the way he throws them, they have some flash and flare to them. And in the eyes of the judges, sometimes that's all you need. They look like they land pretty hard, even if they don't necessarily. His style is very flashy. It's very crowd-pleasing. It can sway the judges. I don't think it's crazy to think that O'Malley could get the win by picking up a second round in there, whether that be round 2 or round 3. I do think round 3 is probably going to Jan. I do think he's going to be able to be the one coming on hard at the end of the fight. I could be wrong about that. Maybe it's round 2 that Jan gets, but Jan's going to win probably one round. O'Malley's going to win probably one round. It's the other round that comes into play. Now, I think in a 3-round fight, for me, I would be willing to bet on Jan to win 6 out of 10 times. Jan is over a minus 300 favorite. At those odds, O'Malley's the only one playable because he's plus 245 or somewhere around there. Last I saw, you can't play Jan if in my opinion, if you think he's going to win probably 6 out of 10 times in a 3-round fight. I do think 4 out of 10 times O'Malley banks a second round in there somewhere. I do think this one probably goes to decision. I don't think Jan goes to decision a lot in his fights. Yes, he's finished some guys. He does go to decision a lot. O'Malley I think the step up in competition is going to be really tough for him to put Petr Yan out. I just don't think he's going to be able to do it. Jan's a tough guy. Not many people are putting Yan out, okay? So, with that said, I think it goes to decision. For a guy like O'Malley, I don't think that it's crazy to think he gets a second round in here somewhere. And at plus 245 or whatever, I think it's irresponsible to bet on a guy at minus 300 when I think he wins 6 out of 10 times. So my pick, although I think Jan wins a 3-round fight in this one more often, I'm going to take Sean O'Malley for UFC 280. I think he's going to get it done on the judges' scorecards. I know it's crazy. I'm going to get so much hate for this. So many people hate Sean O'Malley. I don't know why. I'm not a big Sean O'Malley fan. I picked Vera to beat him. I was really happy when Vera beat him. I do like Vera. Man, I think he's going to get done. I really do. And I'm going to get hate. It's okay. Some of you guys, maybe I'll have some O'Malley fans in there. I'm not picking this fight because I'm a big fan of O'Malley. I'm picking this fight because I think that he's going to be able to bank another round in there, and Jan's going to be really pissed off about a decision that he didn't win, even though he thinks he won it. O'Malley's going to, in the interview, say, Yeah, it was clear. I thought I won all 3 rounds. He probably gets to 29-28. That's where I'm seeing this one going. Maybe even a split decision. But let me know what you guys think. I do like the over in this fight. Like I said, O'Malley's not putting Jan out early. Jan's probably not putting O'Malley out early unless the durability concerns are real and I'm overthinking the leg thing and thinking he fixed it. Let me know what you think. But I'm going to take a shot on O'Malley here. And if you think I'm crazy, I would love to hear it. If you've liked this video, be sure to hit the like button to let me know that. If you want to see more content like this, hit subscribe. We've got more fights on UFC 280. I'd love to hear your opinion on this one specifically, though, because this is a really interesting matchup and a really hard one to predict based on the stylistic differences. But I would love to hear what you think. And let me know how much you've liked this video in the comments down below. Let me know if you think that I'm out of my mind, or if you like the over or the under in this fight as well, because I really like the over. I could be crazy on that. Maybe somebody gets a knockout, but I really think the over is solid. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. But let's move on to the next fight because this is a good one. We got some really good ones on this card.